There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
We're back.
Hey, everybody. Purple Pill Show. We are back. I have an asthma attack. We're back. I'm out of breath.
Somebody get him a bedpan and a catheter.
Just give me a bedpan and a catheter. I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I am the Code, your host. This is Tim Bot-Doss in the passenger seat. And Tim recently almost cut his finger off.
What?
For judging others and doing a complete
That was it was at least 2 weeks ago.
Okay. And you couldn't play the bass.
Nah, man.
Yeah, that last track, Close Encounters, he's supposed to have a bitchin' bass line on there, but he has 5 notes that he
cut and pasted.
Digitized.
Digital.
He also made up that beat. So.
Hey. Yeah, we went out to your mom's and did some work on her house, and I couldn't even get on the ladder, dude, because I couldn't use my left hand. I'm like,
I remember that. You were shaking. You were so scared.
I'm like,
that was a great day on the roof.
That was beautiful.
Remember the mist kept coming in?
Mm-hmm.
It was sunny and hot, and all of a sudden the mist would come. San Clemente is a weird place. It's like Middle Earth.
Both decided we were going to become contractors that day and just work in San Clemente.
Only by the ocean. This is the show where we suspend our beliefs. All right, everybody? So you suspend your beliefs. All right? You believe the sky is up? Well, suspend your belief. Suspend all your beliefs in the way things work, how you get sick, how things transpire on this plane of existence. Suspend all those beliefs and come with us. Use your imagination on what is and what could be. Suspend our beliefs on what was and what is, and we use our imagination on what is and what could be.
Wow.
Transcending the Matrix, hacking the 3D, exiting the Truman Show. There is a fifth dimension. Welcome to
This is it. Zone. This is
the kingdom.
Yeah.
So you heard about Hawaii.
Yeah.
You heard about Lahaina.
I have. I've been hearing about it.
Okay, so
it's on
Maui
fire,
on the
right?
island
It's burning.
of Maui. Well, it was.
Oh, okay.
It's out now. But it looks like, the pictures of Hiroshima.
I haven't even seen the pictures, to be honest.
Okay, so it's Lahaina. It's one of the most famous towns in Maui. It's a place I've been many times. It's dear to my heart. The whole island is. It's like a home away from home.
Right.
Just because I went there with my dad and my mom when I was a little kid. Then I've been recently with my own family, and all the good things in Hawaii stay good forever. And Lahaina was one of those places. It always stayed good. And then big fire happened. The whole historical district of Lahaina is gone.
What was it? Did one of the volcanoes erupt?
Well, that's what I wanted to kind of start the show with. It's we don't know.
Oh, it's UFOs.
No, we don't know what
you saw a UFO there.
I did.
Nobody knows what started the fire.
It was more than a UFO. I mean, this thing, it was pretty. I mean, it lasted for, if you take the 2 separate times it happened, it was probably like 20, 25 minutes. Not that far away from us and me and 2 other people.
No, I know.
So
I've heard the story.
Yeah, but I don't think that started the fire. I know,
but they don't know.
Well,
nobody knows what started the fire.
Everybody knows what started the fire, right? Like, so there's different factions, right? So
Smokey Bear.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Smokey Bear.
It's
Smokey
it's
the
just
Bear.
too
I just can't do it. So the Truman Show says that a power line, there was a tropical storm coming in, or a hurricane, or it got downgraded to tropical storm, and it blew down a power line, which ignited all the moist vegetation in Maui because it's raining and it's windy and the ocean's right there splashing on everything.
I know,
on
it
the
does
rocks.
rain a lot there.
Yeah.
It's a rainforest.
Well, I mean, yeah, but in Lahaina, it's on the drier side for sure.
Oh, okay.
But it's not the driest side. The Kihei is the driest side. Lahaina's pretty dry, but it's still, there's moisture in the air. It's humid. I mean, it's Hawaii. You know, there's plenty of vegetation.
Believable, though.
It is. It is. And when you walk through Lahaina, you know, all the structures were very old, extremely old.
Okay.
And a lot of them were wooden. Most of it was wooden.
I'm sure.
You know, and it looked, you know, if you just looked at it with your eyes, you go, oh, this is really dry. However, you know, I don't have memories of being dry per se. I remember being sweaty and because it's humid.
Yes, there's definitely moisture in the air.
Yes,
it's close to the ocean.
It's close to the ocean. So I don't think you could just chop down a tree over there and use it for firewood on the beach. I don't see a lot of fires on the beach in Hawaii. You know what I mean? Because
you do now.
And why? Well, I mean, why is that? Because a lot of the trees and things are too moist to burn. Anyway, power line fell and lit the place up. That's what the screens tell us. And then you've got the left, politically inclined people that say that it's global warming, end of the world. You know, we better reverse this, global warming. And I'm not saying, you know, any of these could be true. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're saying it's global warming and, end of the world scenario. And then you have the right, and they're saying, and some of the left, and they're saying that it is
Hunter Biden did it.
It's yeah. Well, like the governor and like the rich, you know, the very well, you know, the rich people of Maui, which there's celebrities and rock stars that live there and actors.
Oh, for sure.
And Oprah bought a bunch of land over there, and so did Jeff Bezos. And they're trying to say that, you know, it was possibly arson in order to burn down the town so the rich could come in and buy it up for pennies on the dollar. That's their conspiracy. And then I guess, and I haven't checked this last part, where supposedly the Maui government made a new provision for rezoning that if something burns down, they can take it from the landowners or something like this. So they think that, you know, that the government in league with the rich people of Maui are trying to take that land. Cause it's it's Lahaina, you know, it's the party town. It's like the place you go to stay up all night and dance. And it also has family friendly stuff there too. Don't get me wrong, but,
it's like
it's
the
party
Las
town
Vegas of Hawaii.
Yeah. It's party town. And so they always, and I guess a lot of the property and land is owned by natives. And they never wanted to sell out and put a gap there. You know what I mean? So now the right and some of the left think that, well, they probably, you know, burned it down so the rich people could take it. And so
tell me that's not even possible.
I mean, you know, I don't know. So like you said, does anyone know who did it? Well, you know, everyone thinks they know why it was done, right?
I just know if there's a forest fire here in California, like within the 3 days of the investigation, it was this guy at this address, and he did this, and he's in prison.
Yeah, if I have to go off my own experience in California and what the screens tell us here, you know, the video, it's always, they always blame it on a homeless mentally ill guy, arson. But my whole thing with this idea is that, you know, you have two choices, really. It doesn't matter these different factions. The purple pill outlook on this would be, you can either believe global warming is in control. You can believe that the local government in league with the rich people to buy up the land for pennies on the dollar and take away from the natives. You can believe they're in control, or you can believe in, three choices. Or you can believe God's in control.
Right.
Right. Or you can believe all things are turned for our good. Right. So it doesn't, in my mind, in order to heal myself from this great tragedy and shield myself, in order to put my heart where it belongs with the victims, with the people that are out of their homes, I need to love my neighbor, right? All my neighbors, the natives who were, mad that rich people want to take their land, if that's what they believe. I don't know if the rich people do. See, I can't confirm any of this, right? I can't talk to Oprah and ask if she would admit that, right? But I also can't, the natives aren't going to admit that they hate tourists or whatever, right? Some of them will, I'm sure, but I want to bring everyone together. Mm. And, the only way to bring them together is to just throw your hands up and go, I may not understand it in the short term, but
everything happens for good.
Everything happens for good. That God turns all things for our good. And he's in control. He, she, it, universe, God's in control. And that's why I can be grateful of all the great times I had in Lahaina, And if I'm being totally honest, there was a lot of upgrades that Lahaina could have used, but for whatever reason they weren't, whether it was historical reasons or whatever, a lot of things could have been fixed up over there. You know how they fix the local missions here every now and then?
Yeah.
Make them so that walls don't fall down, things like that.
Right. They'll change out the tiles on the roof.
Right. They'll rewire
and paint it orange, and then just re-stucco and paint.
Right. They'll put, they'll run cables for Wi-Fi and internet. So you have interactive stuff inside the museum. I think that they could have used a little bit of that. It could have used a fresh coat of paint, a little more TLC on some of the structures and stuff. I really think so. Even when I would go there, I would think, they can clean this up a bit, the people, the tourists kind of run amok a bit there.
Really?
Yeah. And so I'm sure this is going to lead to something great down the road.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah. The people are going to be reimbursed by insurance. Everyone's going to rebuild.
Everyone that owned property there now is now homeless, and their homeless just went up.
Yeah, I mean, the insurance, I'm sure will take. I mean, if you own land there, it's definitely insured.
Of course.
Every insurance company wants to insure that land.
But you haven't researched that thing where the government is able to get the land from the landowners, the natives?
No, because what good is it?
I don't think that's.
What's it going to do for me? What's it going to do for me? No, I can see that. I can see them drawing something up like that.
Really?
Oh, for sure. I've seen stuff like that before in other situations. Absolutely.
Really? Like the Native Americans and the Pilgrims type shit?
Come on, bro.
You know what I mean? That's not happening nowadays.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, whether it's happening or not, I have a choice to guard my belief. And my belief is God's in control. But we don't have the all the Greek structures anymore either, all the Roman structures. There was some cool stuff back then, and that's all gone now, right?
Yeah.
But we're still keeping on. We still, people are still having kids and families, and we're still loving and dying and living and, living our lives. Lahaina, it's a great loss, yes, but everything goes through transition. Plus, we also know that these things never go away. They don't cease to exist in the higher dimensions. Just because there was a fire here doesn't mean there was a fire in the other timeline where the banyan tree is still standing and Lahaina is still standing. You know what I mean? That all still exists forever, just like
banyan
we exist.
Tree?
Yeah, there's
that big giant one.
Yeah, the big banyan tree out there.
It's burned down.
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's gone.
It's coming back.
Well, its roots. I mean, it's part of the island. You can't get rid of these things. That's the other thing. You see.
I think that's where my mom went when she went to Hawaii, because she has a picture of a giant banyan tree. It keeps going. Like
yeah.
One of those
It's amazing.
Okay.
You really just want to climb it.
Right.
And start. Right. I mean, because it looks so safe. The branches are huge. They're just rounder than a football, thick. You could just walk all over these things if you really wanted to, but you can't get on it and stuff.
They don't have much of a fire department. out there, right?
They have one up by the Iao Needle. Yeah, and they have another one up there in Napili. I'm sure
they were just overwhelmed.
They've got a few.
I literally don't know anything about this story, so that's why I'm asking.
The fire was so hot
and came so fast,
and the winds were 80 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour.
So it's just like one of these.
So it just blew through, and the wind made it supercharged.
Yeah,
this is what they say. And so, the cars it looks like Hiroshima. It looks like a World War II bombing happened there. That's what it looks like.
I did read something about the death toll being like 100.
Right.
I think that was this morning or yesterday.
But I just, I just want to unite the idea that two choices, right, is
graphics on the screen.
The world.
Right.
And it's,
doom and
something
gloom.
It's doom and gloom. It's the end of Lahaina. No, no. And I totally understand. And my heart goes out. Or God's in control. In the higher realms, it's not destroyed. Just like we won't be destroyed.
Eternal life. Exactly.
And this plane is eternal. We know that, right? Because heaven is within you, all around you and among you. Right? Mm. So we know we exist forever. And if we choose collectively to want those things in the higher realms, they'll be there. And just because it's not here doesn't mean it's not there.
Right.
I like that. Just because it's not here doesn't mean it's not there. Let me tell you something. It is there.
For sure.
Just like your loved one is there. Okay? Mm-hmm. Just like your loved one is there. So is Lahaina, and these and the Twin Towers are there. These things that we love deeply and we care for, these strangers that we've seen on the screens that got hurt or are not with us anymore, they're still there in the higher realms, and they're okay. And this is all going to be okay. Fear not, right? The master, he walks out. The disciples wake up. The big storm, we always go back to it, but I mean, it's just so perfect. The storm's brewing, and Jesus is calm as
right,
as calm as it gets.
Yeah.
What in the heck's going on here?
Yeah.
Come, walk out here. Yes, Peter, come. He walks on water. I mean, that's what we're doing here. We have to do it this way. We can't do it the other way, or it's more anguish, and it's more tears, and it's more it's more less than. Instead of, I wish those people were still around. I wish those buildings were still around so I could take a picture in front, or I could walk on those streets again. And but they are still there.
They're still there.
They are still there. Don't let your eyes deceive you when you see the wreckage in this realm. This realm's going away. We're going to higher realms. We're all going together, and certain things can't come with us. And this version on this lower density of Lahaina obviously can't come with us, unfortunately. But it's still there in the higher realms. That's why this one ain't going to go, because there's already a way better one.
Yeah.
And it's the Lahaina we all know and love. So love and light and all the highest energy and thoughts
prayers
for
prayers
Maui and
for
Lahaina.
People in Lahaina.
Yeah, and choose love. Just let it go. Let it go. Let the global warming, let it go. Let the power line that fell, let it go. Let the arson, whether it was or wasn't, let it go. The rich want to buy up the land, take it from let it all go. We have to let go and just tell the world, make my day, man. Let it go because it's all still there. And that's why the master went right into the arms of the Romans and said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. He wasn't scared. He knew what was going to happen. That's what we got to do. We can't be scared of these things. We can't let sadness just rupture our heart. We've got to let hope and happiness rupture our heart when we see these things. Hope that God has a better plan.
Because he does.
He does. Every time. He does have a better plan. It always works out. It's going to work out. It may take 10 years, may take for us to understand it and see it, but it's all working for the best interest, which is all for all of us.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking in my mind, like, what could the plan be? I always want to know what the plan is.
What could the plan be?
I want to know what the plan is.
Yeah, well, I mean, there could be a lot of different...
So I can say, I'm on board or no. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think, what would God's plan be? And, just setting it ablaze.
Well, from going to Maui...
It doesn't matter. That's the answer.
Right?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's for good.
It's for good and it's eternal.
And he says, be patient.
He does. I also know from going to Maui for so many years that the island takes care of itself.
Oh, for sure.
The island
Nature usually does.
The island takes care of itself. And Lahaina, for whatever reason, the island just said no more. Whether it was, too much debauchery with the tourism, or whether it was the natives sowing animosity and hate towards foreigners or tourists, or whether it was the tourists disrespecting the island, or whether it was the rich whatever it was, the island took care of it.
Yeah.
And it's all going to work out what's best for the island. That's for sure. So what's the plan? To keep Maui Maui. I mean, that's what's going to happen, I think. That's what I believe. That's what I know. Whether it happens with in this vibration or the higher vibrations, it's going to happen. And it's still there.
Oh, it's going to stay.
Okay. So then I got this other interesting article that I pulled up. All right. Now, it's really cool. We got one of my heroes, Tom DeLonge, guitar player for Blink-182, lead singer.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that he made the aerospace company To the Stars. He hired all these former CIA, FBI scientists.
Yeah, this was a while back, right?
Yeah, he made this
when was this? 8 years ago?
7 or 8, maybe 10, almost 10 years. Okay. He made the aerospace company, hired all these guys from the Department of Defense and Jet Propulsion Laboratories, et cetera, to investigate UFOs and metaphysical science.
That's pretty cool.
Right. So then we've had all these UFO sightings lately.
His name's probably been popping up in the headlines.
I mean, it's been popping up. Whenever this topic comes up, he's
forefront,
right? Because he talks to these guys. And,
sure.
These aren't the most sociable people in the world. And so we've been seeing these UFOs. I saw one last year in Maui. People, Twitter and all the videos.
I know.
And so
I've sat there and watched a few.
Right. So the headline is Tom DeLonge claims secret Department of Defense document from UFO program proves telekinesis is real. And he says here,
is this a separate disclosed CIA document, or is this from the one that we...
Oh no! This is a separate.
Oh, okay.
This is one that he has that no one else has.
Hasn't even come out.
Yeah, but he's seen it.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's on during a podcast with Daniel P. Carter of BBC Radio 1 Rock. DeLonge disclosed that he has a secret official Pentagon document from a UFO program that shows telekinesis is a real ability. He believes that telekinesis has been proven in the lab, and that consciousness precedes matter. And we know that is big in our
it's possible
in our quantum
for sure.
Not even possible. It's probable that consciousness precedes matter, and it's what the master teaches us in the book. It's also what we've been with that CIA document we covered a few episodes back.
Yes.
Right. So he believes that telekinesis has been proven in the lab and that consciousness precedes matter. And once we discover that, collectively, that life is going to get very interesting. He suggests that we have the ability to heal ourselves. That's what the master teaches us too, right?
Yes.
We have the ability to heal ourselves and create new types of sciences and engineering. He also believes that telepathy is going to be a part of it and that they have found an area in the brain that they believe is where telepathy happens. He thinks that once people accept all of the stuff that they have been talking about, it's going to change the world. And then here's a transcript. He says, I always tell people that there is this really cool document that I have that was a part of the UFO program where they were studying a kid in China who can move objects with his mind. He's around 10 years old. So they wanted to figure out how that's possible, and they recreated it in the lab. I have the whole Department of Defense document, and it goes through it and says they were able to put a piece of paper in a glass jar, screw the lid on it, and move the paper through the lid. And then 6 feet across the floor, all with their mind. 100 people can do this. Only 10 have mastered it, and it was just wild. So
that's pretty wild.
And then he says here, he says, so telekinesis has been proven in the lab, but no one knows about it. I'm like, to be able to move things with the Force like in Star Wars is a big deal. It sounds ridiculous. That's why, and within the current paradigm, it sounds ridiculous. I'm sure, or maybe you won't remember, but we had a conversation at the Reading Festival many years ago where I think I probably came across as a total maniac, even to someone as open-minded as yourself. But I was talking about reading a bunch of different things, but I was looking at different realms of consciousness because that's the basis of everything I believe. I believe that consciousness precedes matter, and I highly agree with you because the current paradigm is that consciousness is a facet that's created by matter, which is just this weird thing that comes about because our brains are complicated, and that's nonsense. I think it's exactly the opposite. And once we discover that stuff, life is going to get very interesting. Once we discover that mind over matter, not the other way around, we will have the ability to heal ourselves, create new types of sciences and engineering, and become a civilization where telepathy is a part of it. I believe that's all going to happen. There's one person who was up for the Nobel last year, as one of the top geneticists in the world, at one of the Ivy League schools that we are working with, who worked on part of the UFO program at the Pentagon. I was talking to him, and they found an area in the brain that they believe where telepathy happens, and he believes he can create something to enhance it by 1,000 times, like some type of technology that targets that area of the brain, what have you. So that's the thing. People do think it's ridiculous, but not the people who have an open enough mind to research and jump in. These guys are like world-leading PhDs, and that's been kind of the story of my life, is everything I've told, even on Rogan, is not made up. It's coming from somewhere. And I can't say where it's coming from, but at the end of the day, it's all real. I think it's going to be a very exciting time once people accept all the stuff that we've been talking about. I think it's going to really change the world. Right. Now, okay, so good article. But the key thing in there is, like, he keeps saying all these things are true, but they all hinder on one thing. And he says it I think he says it 3 times in here. Once people believe.
Yeah, I heard that.
That's what he says. All these things are possible, but it all hinders on one thing.
Paradigm's going to shift.
How many people believe? Remember, we always talk about this collective consciousness.
Right.
I call it the unity consciousness. Where, you have the scales, like the scales of justice in belief and non-belief. And if it's tilted in non-belief, everything's impossible. And if it's tilted in belief in the master and belief in the spiritual disciplines, then anything is possible with God, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's what he keeps, I read this whole thing, these guys with PhDs and Department of Defense documents, but telekinesis, all these, but it all hinges on on our belief, on the collective. And that's what I got out of this, which was really interesting, as well as just touching again on consciousness precedes matter. I think it was on the previous episode, just the one right before this one, where I said, everything has to happen through you because you're the only thing you can verify.
Right.
Right? And I'm like, I can't verify you. I love you. Thanks for being my best friend for 37 years, but I can't verify if you're not me or a part of me or a part of my mind.
Right. I'm just a made up.
Right. And I'm for you.
Non-playable character.
Timbat Das.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah, the same goes for me.
Right,
anyone else.
Exactly. You can't verify.
When they leave.
Where do they go?
Where do they go?
They go in one of those Stargate portals like you've been seeing. Like that's what they say that happened in the Malaysia flight.
Right.
The 747.
Yeah.
You seen that video on Twitter?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cool. Just disappears.
Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting. Consciousness precedes matter. I think we have some episodes where Einstein alludes to that. Of course, Dr. Joe Dispenza, our spiritual friends. Buddhist, that's a big belief of Buddhists, right? All that exists, that exists is within you. Mm-hmm. Everything comes from you.
It's a result of a previous thought.
Right. And the word, right? There was nothing before the word, right? So the master teaches that same thing. Consciousness precedes matter. So the table, it's all here because this is, you know what I mean? We gotta start, just like the beginning of the episode says,
Yeah, we gotta have an open mind.
Suspend our beliefs.
Open our minds.
Fuck open minds.
Way wide.
Real wide. Just suspend all belief in the world. Suspend all belief in the world. Keep one foot. You can't help it, okay? You're always going to have one foot in the world. Take every other limb and put it in the fifth dimension with the master's teachings. And just see how interesting life is. We were was it last? No, it's just before you arrived. My wife and I were out in the living room watching, I don't know. The TV was on, but it had gone to the screensaver.
Oh, it's your photos.
Right. So if you have Google Chrome plugin,
right,
it'll shuffle your photos. If you have Apple TV, it'll shuffle your photos.
Yeah.
So it was shuffling Ireland, and it looked real cold and real rocky mountains, all these different things. And so the camera's going by it, and she says, "Oh yeah, look how pretty this mountain and Rocky Mountain. It looks real brutal but beautiful at the same time." And as it's going by, I mean,
you saw a UFO.
No, as it's going by, I just, because I'm playing this game with my mind as much as I can in order to keep me balanced. One foot in the 3D, everything else over in the 5D. So she said, look at, this looks real pretty or whatever, this mountain or whatever. But I immediately saw a petrified giant. And I go, she goes, yeah, look at that. I go, yeah, it kind of looks like a petrified giant. And I pointed out the eyes with a beard. It almost looks like
like through
a Viking.
The side of the mountain? Is that what you're talking about?
Like the mountain itself looked like a petrified giant that had just died and just was laying there and just got petrified.
And is it like the ocean coming up?
Yeah, the ocean. Yeah, so you would look at it and you would see a mountain.
I've seen stuff like that.
But it looked like a petrified giant.
That Song of the Sea, and it's like a giant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man.
Well, it really looked like it. And she goes, and she's a real down-to-earth lady, and she goes, I can see that. I'm like, can you? I'm like, isn't that a little more fun than just the mountain?
Right.
Look.
It is.
Pass or fail, dude. Like that. Right, exactly. That's why I brought it up as an example. Pass or fail, bro. Yeah, I get that it's a mountain, bro. Okay? I'm still in my right mind, okay? Yes, it's a mountain. But isn't it more fun just for a moment to suspend that belief and all those things the way mountains are made, blah, blah, and just look at it as if it's good training for your mind. Look at it as if you never got the training on what makes a mountain, what mountain is called. You know what I mean?
Right.
Look at it with just, what does that look like to you? If you're just looking at it. And the first thing that looked like to me was this like Viking giant, petrified Viking. And she goes, yeah. Oh, she goes, oh, I see that. And I thought that was really, really kind of fun. It's just more fun. Life's more interesting if we don't know everything. Right?
Yeah. It's almost like kids have a different view of things or perspective on things than
it's a childlike
adults.
Mind.
A lot different, right? My boss at work was showing me this thing. It's like this kid, I don't know the whole backstory, but this kid did a craft thing, right? And through his church, like the kids were doing this craft thing one day, and they were given construction paper, right? And different colors of cotton for hair, and just different colors of construction paper. And they were to make like cut out pieces and make a photo of like a collage of what they're supposed to look like what they think they're going to look like when they're old.
Oh, that's cool.
Right? So this one kid that my boss knows, as his friend takes care of him or something, right? He's young. He's only like 6. And he cuts out these papers, right? And I think he's a white ethnicity, right?
Okay.
But
it's a Weddle.
Right. But the only colors of the construction paper were just your basics, dude. Like red, green, blue. You got yellow, white, obviously, and it's bright white,
right?
Or brown, or black, and these things. So he makes this picture, and it looks like, an older African American man, gray hair because there's like the white cotton for hair, but uses the brown construction paper, and red lips and blue eyes, whatever, and shows it to the parent and was like, "This is interesting. Well, what made you choose these colors and stuff?" And the kid, it was so dynamite. This 6-year-old was like, "Well, I took the white paper and held it up to my skin. It looked nothing like it. And I took the brown one, and that one looked closest to my skin color. So I used that one."
That's great.
I mean, it's just cool. Like, kids have a different outlook on anything, really.
Right. They're suspending their beliefs and all the time. Like that's why you have to teach a kid, 10, 15, 25, 100 billion times to do one thing before they really, because they see it differently.
It's like when you were a kid seeing, like playing that game where you're looking at clouds passing by and finding pictures in them.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like
Never stop doing that.
Kids will do that all the time. I used to do it every road trip to Phoenix.
Oh, I did it all the time too, for hours.
Dude, yeah, for hours.
I would do it for a couple hours.
And then eventually
that's how bored my parents, made me. Are we there yet? 5 more hours.
In that timeline we were in, parents just didn't care.
No,
they were never there.
No.
And when they were, they didn't care.
Right. We love you. We love you, Mom.
You're the best. Hey, but for real, when you stop playing games like that,
right,
you start buying more into this
3D.
And you're not using your imagination a lot less.
You're using it a ton less. And if you are using it, you're using it for horrible things.
For the wrong reason.
You're using it for, gophers in your yard to yank out all your brand new flowers. Or you're using it for the kids getting sick 10 times. Or you're using it for your business going sideways and your business partner, having a life event. I mean, seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then that's what happens.
And everything starts going negative.
Right. So we should be using it for those beautiful, fun things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, another one of those, the master, having a childlike mind is the key to success, is to have that fresh outlook. Just because just because someone told you what a star is, that doesn't mean you can't look at it with a different viewpoint every now and then and wonder what you are, right? Twinkle, twinkle, little star. I wonder what you are. But now I guess that song is supposed to be obsolete because we know what the fuck you are. Hey, twinkle, twinkle, little star. I know exactly what you are, so I'm all done.
Yeah.
Let's hold on for a minute. What if, it's fun to just think about things like that. What if they're wrong? What if that's not what it is? All of a sudden, everything's a lot more exciting, a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to, consciousness precedes matter, right? And so what does that look like? Well, I can tell you what it looks like in my life lately. My wife is the best. She plants flowers and keeps a real neat house, clean, well organized, as best she can.
Oh, it's always
and she
nice.
does, and she does an excellent job.
It's always nice.
Yeah, she does an excellent
every
job.
time.
But then she'll have these ideas. I hope that the gophers don't come and start eating our beautiful grass. I'll hope that the gophers don't come back after I planted these great flowers. And I hope that, that they don't this and don't that. And then sure enough, like clockwork, she thinks or does that for a couple of weeks. and boom, here come the gophers. Boom, we have a mice problem inside the house. You know, if there's a bunch of food on the ground and if we can't get to it, you know, that's what brings mice and ants and other things, right? I mean, that's what the 3D teaches us. That's the way it works.
Right.
And that's the way it does work, especially if you believe that, right? And I'm not saying that if you don't believe it, mice won't come, or maybe I am saying that, but I'm just saying it just seems really odd that the thought precedes the event every fucking time. I wasn't thinking about mice at all and they showed up. No, I was thinking about it. We're leaving doors open here and there. If they're real honest, we're leaving the garage open more because it's summertime to help with the cross breeze. We're leaving this open more. We're eating in our cars more. You know, we're taking food from the pantry all the way through the hallway into the garage. You know what I mean? And that causes mice to come.
Hey, have you guys caught anyone?
Yeah, well, we've caught 4 mice now.
4.
With
just that one trap that was set up?
No,
you set
four
more?
Four different traps. 1 trap per mouse.
Oh.
Yeah. We're not going to get close to the mouse, the vermin.
In different places of the house?
Yeah.
What, like kitchen?
Yeah.
Garage?
It's a bad. We have a mouse problem all of a sudden. But we also live next to the hiking trail.
Of course.
And the Marine base.
No, I know.
Where the coyotes live. So I mean, they're field mice. They're not rats. These aren't the rats the size of dogs.
No.
In downtown LA.
I told you I saw that one night, and they're tiny. If you blink, you miss them. Yeah, that's how small they are and fast they are.
And so we had the gopher problem out in the back, and we flooded them out and killed them.
Yeah, and
it was gone. The problem was gone for like a month and a half, and then she planted some flowers out in the front. And sure as shit, she thought, I hope those gophers don't come. And all of a sudden, gophers start popping up again.
Yeah, like Caddyshack.
But yeah, so consciousness precedes matter, man. Whether it's the mice, whether it's the sickness. Here comes winter.
Good or bad.
Here comes winter. I hope I don't get sick.
Everybody gets what they want, whether they like it or not.
Jinx. But yeah, I hope I don't. Here comes winter. I hope I don't get sick. You're gonna get sick. The people that don't get sick, ever talk to them about it? They just don't think about it.
Right.
My dad was famous for this, and then ironically, he transforms and goes to the next dimension because of cancer. But for most of my life, the guy was not sick, and he would always be real proud of it. Christmas, Thanksgiving, when extended family would come everyone starts talking about
winter.
Everyone starts talking about their sicknesses and stuff. And goes, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't get sick. And you go, why? What do you do different? He's like, I just don't think about it. He had a point.
You know what's funny is that's how I kind of feel about it too.
Yeah, you don't get sick when you don't think about it.
And when someone asks me like, "Oh, something's going around," my kids,
they plant the seed.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, I heard this going around, so and so, so so." Oh, really? I'm not.
Don't tell me about it.
I just tell them, I don't get sick.
yeah, that's a good one. That's almost like saying I take it out of the law. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, by battling it back, they're trying to push a belief on you.
Yeah.
I heard there was something going around, and then you battle back with your belief.
I don't get sick.
I don't get sick. That's great. And this is where I think it's a psalm or it's a.
I got COVID a couple times, but that's because it was being shoved down my throat everywhere.
Oh, dude, we were all praying to get COVID so we could go into our favorite restaurant again. Remember? It was either get the shot or get COVID. We're like, let's get COVID. But this is where is it a psalm or is it it's in the Bible, but it's see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Okay? It's a command, basically. It's a rule of the laws of the universe. So you speak no evil, hear no evil, see no evil. And
I've heard that before. I thought it was from a movie.
No, it's from the Bible. and other spiritual disciplines have similar, but that's the most famous one. So now that makes more sense. But getting sick isn't evil, and gophers aren't evil. No, but things going sideways is what's evil. right? I just spent 2 hours planting these beautiful flowers and a gopher came by and ate them. I mean, is it evil?
Is that really?
No, but the saying of, speak no evil, see no evil, hear no evil makes more sense in the sense of it's showing you how powerful those things are.
Right.
So try not to see, don't look for the evil in situations with your eyes. Don't look for it or you'll find it.
With your thoughts.
Yeah. And don't speak about it.
Right.
Or here it comes, because consciousness precedes matter. So that makes a lot more sense now that comes from, it's apparently a Buddhist saying that
it's a proverb that is hundreds of years old.
Right. And I remember I read it. I've heard it my whole life growing up, but I read it with my kids. These books, when you have kids in a family, the children's books follow you around just for ages, right? They start with the first kid, they go to the second kid. So they have this book, called Proverbs, and it has all these old time sayings in it that have borne out to be true over the years. And that's in there. My kids are always going, what's this mean? And so I used to just try to give them the basic version before my spiritual awakening. But now you can put it into real world terms. And it kind of goes along with, when Jesus was over here and the disciples talk about Pontius Pilate murdering people in Galilee and another situation where he hears, then he talks about the tower falling on some people too, because the disciples are busy discussing it and judging people for it. What do they do to deserve that? Whatever, that gets them on the wrong path. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden they can be subject to something like this if it's on their mind. And it also goes along with, set your mind to things that are beautiful, things that are worthy, praiseworthy. And,
right.
And
to righteousness.
Yeah, right. So.
On the right path.
Right. That's why when that whole thing with Hawaii started going on, and I started seeing everybody, all the different factions, and each one has a totally negative outlook, right? Whether it's the power lines because they never updated anything, or whether it's the rich people trying to buy up the land for pennies on the dollar, whether it's global warming, none of it's positive.
Yeah.
There's no silver lining in any of those explanations, which is the way the world wants it.
Yeah, I was just reading about this here, no evil, see no evil, right? And so it's hundreds of years old. And it's basically from a 17th century carving. Depicts three monkeys, right? One with his hands covering his eyes, one's covering his ears, one's covering his hands over his mouth. The original meaning is thought to be, the sculpture was inspired by Confucius, who is believed to have said, "Look not what is contrary to propriety. Listen not what is contrary to propriety. Speak not what is contrary to propriety. Make no movement which is contrary to propriety."
Oh, so consciousness precedes matter. And that's what Confucius is saying too.
Right.
You can't let anything from whatever your eyes, whatever your senses are telling you, don't be swayed by it unless it's joy, love, and happiness.
Yeah.
We cannot let our emotions be swayed to the negative. We've got to try to stop ourselves. In the face of
when you start
sadness,
developing emotions, man, then it starts festering opinions, judgments.
Right. And you want justice, resentment.
Like a lot comes out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Man, you really got to be careful.
You start spinning. And
you get your fingers cut off.
Should we tell that story?
You get sick.
I got sick.
You get sick. You'll make yourself sick.
I thought it
will happen.
Yeah, we got to watch what you think. Watch what you say. Watch what you do. Use your imagination for good. What if, and then it's a less than negative. It's a suck your thumb, pray for death.
Right.
What if this negative thing happened? It's what if you won $1 million? What if your project went great? What if you became a rock star in your 50s? What if, you got your dream house for pennies on the dollar? What if, you were out of debt in 3 months. Start everything you're going to what if. Stop the negative. Just do the positive what if. Do the positive. What if Maui is totally tired of everybody and wants to start over?
Sure.
Or what if there's some high-powered lawyer that comes in and gets a big win for the natives because of it all happen? Or what if the natives become filthy rich and can buy up the more land from the rich people or something strange? You know what I mean?
Maybe this is just a reboot. What if this is just a reboot? It's a universal reboot.
Right. We're going into the higher dimensions. What about that?
Who doesn't love Maui? I've never met anyone.
Even Maui's enemies love Maui.
Right.
They just want to take it over.
And if all these people are coming in, these wealthy people, what if they're just start, throwing money at it? The whole thing gets rebuilt, and it's 5D Maui.
Right.
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 You don't know.
Because
you don't know.
We can change the hearts. God says he hardens the hearts of those that want their hearts hardened, and he unhardens the ones that don't want them hardened. So everyone can change, and we can change. I changed overnight. I mean, I just changed a lot of my beliefs in a very short amount of time. And in tune, it changed the world, my world at least, and your world, and you changed my world, and we can all together with love change Maui and help Lahaina that way too.
Yeah. By
forgiving even the rich or even the natives or even the tourists who were, whatever, puking or, from drinking too much. Let's just heal them all and forgive them and rebuild in our minds first.
Love and thoughts.
Rebuild Lahaina in your mind and your heart first, and then it will follow.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Purple Pill Show.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Later.
Peace.